Okay, crew, here it is, math lesson number 3. So this way I'll go through all of the questions in the green book and read what they are asking you to do. They are, so we'll start with page 225. Sure it's all on there. Okay, fill in the chart below. The first one has been done for you. Okay, so they did the drawing just like we did, where the cake was only cut into 10 strips. So they figured out how many of those strips were shaded, wrote the fraction, wrote the decimal that matched. On the right hand side, they've cut the cake the other way as well, so now we're getting more pieces. So now we've got 100 on the bottom of the fraction, and they counted, there's 40 on the top, so the equivalent decimal would be 0.40. Okay, so that's what we're doing in here. Fraction, decimal, equivalent fraction, equivalent decimal, color in the pictures here so that it matches. So this picture and this picture should have the same amount of shading. Number 2, write a fraction for the number of hundredths. Then count the shaded columns and write a fraction for the number of tenths. Okay, so to start with, we can count each column by 10, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So we would have 70 out of 100. Then we can count each column by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 10. So again, a column is the up and down ones, right? Rows go across, columns go up and down. Okay, so a hundredth and a tenth for each one. At the bottom it says fill in the missing numbers. So remember that 10 100ths is the same thing as 1/10. Okay, so 0.8 is the same thing as 8/10. So that'll be the same thing. Ooh, what did we do to the bottom? We multiplied the bottom by 10, multiply the top by 10. That'll be the same thing as 80 100ths once we cut the cake the other direction. And that'll be the same thing as 0.80. So as they go through here, they've done different parts, so you can always look around and check and see what makes sense. All right. The next page we're doing is page 227. Still see that okay? So here we're going to fill in the different numbers. So tenths, we're counting the columns for the tenths, and we're counting just the leftover extra guys for the hundredths. And then we're going to write the fraction out of 100 with the tenths number and the hundredths number filling in the decimal. Okay. Write the following decimals as fractions. So for the first few, they're giving you the denominator, and you just have to fill in the numerator or that top number. For the last ones, you get to choose what you want to put on the bottom or the denominator of your fraction, right? So there's only one digit here, then you'll probably put a 10 on the bottom. If there's 2 digits here, you're going to need to put 100 on the bottom. Change the following fractions to decimals, just going the other way around. 5/10, we're going to need to put a 5 in the tenths spot for the decimal. Circle the equalities that are incorrect. You'll notice in between the decimal and the fraction, they've put an equal sign. If whatever decimal they've given you does not equal the fraction that they've given you, they're asking you to circle them. So if this and that are not the same amount of cake, circle that one. Okay. Last question, explain how you know 0.7 is equal to 0.70. Okay, so think about what we learned in the lesson, and you could either show me with some pictures or you could write words to describe how you know 0.7 is the same thing as 0.70. Okay, and again, anytime you have questions, make sure you email me or get your family to email me, and we can always set up a Skype meeting so that we can do this in person. Okay, good luck.